Well, hello there. And
Hello
Hello.
there.
I'm Stan Daniel. Joining us, Miss Marie Wilson and Michael Nip, and welcome
Hello.
to the welcome to the Hoover Library Sci-Fi Fantasy Festival Grey's Anatomy panel. Just kidding. It's Star Wars: The Bad Batch.
Of course.
Woo.
Well, okay, we're what did you say? We're 13 episodes in?
We are 13. As far as the date that we're recording, we are 13
Yes.
episodes through. So we are through the episode titled Infested.
Infested was the last one. Yep. I think this is quickly becoming my favorite of the animated offerings.
Ooh, I don't know if I'm willing to go that far. I mean, obviously Resistance is my favorite, but no, I'm just kidding. No hate on Resistance. I like Resistance.
Resistance is great.
I like
Nico is
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah, exactly. I think Rebels is a close first over the Clone Wars for me. And then Bad Batch is after Clone Wars.
To me, Rebels got a little bit of a slow start in the first season.
Okay.
This one has drawn me in much faster. And I say that. How dare I compare anything to Clone Wars?
How dare you?
Yeah, I mean that was ridiculous of me, and I apologize because I think Clone Wars rivals the first Star Trek so far has great science fiction television.
Okay.
I mean, it really does. They cover the bases, and there's some really, really deep scripts in the Clone Wars. But I was just drawn into this way quicker than I was Clone Wars or Rebels, and so I feel more excitement toward it. And when they announced Omega, or when we started seeing Omega show up, I was like, how's a kid going to fit into this? How's any kid going to fit into this?
Right.
And now I'm primarily concerned about Omega in every episode.
Yeah, as you should be. I mean, she is an important character.
Yeah. So why Omega and not Boba Fett? Why are the Kaminoans after Omega and not Boba Fett?
I think it's an interest. I mean, I think because she was raised by them, she knows I mean, she's got a background helping them work on clones, so she knows she has a medical background working with them. And I think that she's just very important in the sense that they know at this point they're not going to be able to get Boba Fett. Boba Fett's at this age, he's probably still doing some bounty hunting. Obviously, we're not quite sure who he's with right now. I don't think. I was hoping we were going to get to see that in this series, but I'm thinking now that we're not going to get to see Boba Fett in this series. I think they're going to hold that if there is a second season, they're going to have Boba Fett in the second season. But I don't know. And obviously they need her at this point. They need her DNA because their original DNA that they had to create their clone troopers is damaged, is I guess what they said, or tainted, or deteriorated at this point. So
yeah, and Django is incapacitated, so they can't go back to the store.
Or decapitated. I
mean, as this goes on, you don't feel that. Yeah, I know, like y'all said before we started, they haven't announced a season 2. But I don't really know how there's any way we don't have a season 2 and a season 3. I think they're telling the story of the end of the clones.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is so at some point, she's got to cross. Omega and Boba Fett have got to come eye to eye at some point.
Well, I mean, and Marie, what are your thoughts on this? Because I think that they're telling two different stories that we have heard about, some in legends, some in canon, that there's a war of Camino, right? And then the Caminoan war. And then also, I think with episode 12, with Hauser, I think they're introducing the potential for a war with the clones versus the Empire. What are your thoughts on that, Marie?
Yeah, I could definitely see that. That the whole Hauser situation was incredibly surprising.
Yeah.
And I mean, you saw it coming, but when you first saw it coming, you're like, wait, what? The
Mm-hmm.
fact that, just to give some context, that he is not willing to do what the Empire wants him to do. And he finally says no and throws down literally his weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be fascinating to see some kind of big uprising amongst the clones and that um that antagonistic situation
Mm-hmm.
between the clones and the conscripted soldiers,
Yeah.
the free soldiers.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, I mean, because they're coming at two ways with this now that I was surprised about. I mean, we've got obviously some of these clones, Clone Force 99, that have removed their chips and
Mhm.
they have complete free will to make decisions on their own.
Yep.
Then you've obviously got the chipped clone troopers that have no free will until this situation with Hauser, where he
Yeah.
does exhibit some free will in a situation not involving a Jedi, because I don't know that he could control the chip that much if it was
That
involving a
makes
Jedi.
sense. That makes
But
sense.
but he's got this free will where he supported the Syndulla family. I mean, he seemed like he was the troop that was on Ryloth supporting the Syndulla family, and he had loyalty to them.
Mhm.
And because of that intense loyalty, he was able to throw down his weapon and not adhere to anything that Admiral Rampart was telling him to do, which that's another character I like a lot. He's a really good Imperial.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
Yeah.
he's just a good Imperial. And it was really cool to see that, because I really think we're planting some seeds that they can't just finish in the three episodes that are left. They're gonna
Yeah.
have to extend this into more seasons.
Rex has got to come back. This overarching question about the clones, I've got I've got two major. Well, I've got one. I got one guess here, and I've got
Mm-hmm.
a major question. My first guess is maybe he was not directly around a Jedi during Order 66, and so
Right.
yeah, it didn't have the impact on him. The trigger didn't fully pull, and then that begs the question. They've got that biological Order 66 implant in them. Wouldn't Palpatine have thought to put an off switch in them as well?
Well, I don't know that
Mm.
Palpatine would have bothered with something like that, because he obviously would not want to turn them off. But I think the Kaminoans have something along those
Mm.
lines. I
Okay.
think that they have a contingency plan somewhere that, again, I don't know in 3 episodes if we're going to get to see that. Now, episode 14, we already know the title of is War Mantle.
Mhm.
War Mantle is something we first very briefly heard about. No, well, not even heard about. We saw in Rogue One
Yeah.
when they were at the Citadel area, and it was just one of the random things that we saw pop up if you had your closed captioning on. War Mantle, and we know that Project War Mantle is the Empire's attempt to have conscripted troopers rather than clone troopers.
Yeah.
So something big's going to happen in a few days. I don't know when this is going to air, but on Friday, when War Mantle hits, I think that's going to be a major episode. I
Yeah.
think we're going to see some heavy stuff in that episode, and I think the Kaminoans are going to be involved again. They've got to have contingency plans, because we've even heard it verbalized in this series, which I
Yeah.
love, that
Yeah.
they never do anything by accident.
Mm.
That's I can't remember what character said that about the Kaminoans, but they even said that phrase in this season. They never do it. The Kaminoans never do anything by accident. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
And they did talk about a contingency plan, specifically that phrase.
Yeah.
But they never really went into what that was. So there's still so many unanswered questions about the Kaminoans and like that abandoned cloning facility and the left behind clones, and why they, like, if they already know that the Empire is not going to take more clones, why are they so desperate to get that clone material back?
Well, I mean, it's obviously, I mean, this was the way that they made money, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that abandoned facility is so intriguing to me because it shows that they weren't doing business just with the Empire.
Yeah, because they had cloned Kaminoans in there.
Right. Or something that looked like a Kamino. It was very close. The neck did not seem as long, but I think everybody said that's a Kaminoan. But to me, when you're looking at it, the neck does not seem as long as most of the Kaminoans that we have seen thus far.
Are they trying to reclone Yaril Poof?
Oh, I mean, I don't know.
What
look,
happened to Yaril? So.
Rest in peace, Ton Wee. Maybe they're going to clone her again. I don't know. She unfortunately died in this series. But yeah, so obviously they've been around a while. They've been doing business with other people. So who knows how many other species of clones there are out there? That opens up some very interesting potential for Star Wars, that there could be other clones of other species out there.
Wouldn't they have loved to have gotten their hands on Jedi DNA?
Well, I mean, they did in a way. I mean, we know that that's basically what Dr. Pershing had a Kaminoan symbol.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a little bit down the road. In one of the video games, and I don't think it's any longer canon, Emperor Palpatine orders an attack on the Kaminoans, wipe them all out, specifically because he does not want them joining the rebels or selling to the rebels, and he wants all clones gone, just across the board.
Yeah.
But clearly, it's not the same situation, because in the video game, he ordered that shortly after the events of Revenge of the Sith. But yeah, I think we're building towards something there. Do you actually think the Kaminoans would pull a kill switch on the clones?
No, I mean, Maria, I don't think so, right?
I don't think so, because they seemed so invested in it, so invested both like mentally and financially in having the clone troopers.
Well, especially and forgive me if I get her name wrong, but Nala Se, especially Nala Se, she seems very connected to the well-being of Omega. Not just, whereas Lama Su seems like he's the businessman. He's just, he's in it for the money. In fact, he wanted Omega caught and killed, right? I mean, and once Nala Se figured that out, she's like, we're not going to let that happen. She sent Fennec Shan to collect her safely,
Yeah.
So
he's emotionally invested with Omega. That's clear. That's clear. And it seems like Fennec Shan is slightly. I mean, just by the fact that it's a young woman that she's after in this situation. I mean, Fennec Shan lets her go in the last encounter, pretty much, and said, just basically saying, "I'm on your side." And when she contacts home base, she tells them, she's safe with them right now. So that's it. In other aspects of Bad Batch, how do you feel about their overt marketing of the popcorn at Galaxy's Edge?
Is that what that is?
What is it called?
Exactly the Mantel mix.
Mantel mix. Yeah, they'll. I think that they've already started selling that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
At Galaxy's Edge, though, you can get it in a mouse droid.
That's funny. Yeah, you know who else doesn't
Ah.
doesn't do anything for no reason? Disney.
Yeah, yeah.
They're very much like the Kaminoans.
Marketing across the board. The little animal that what's his face had from last episode.
Oh yeah, the little
Yeah,
cat
that's
rat
going
thing.
to end up in the pet store down there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I thought that was really clever marketing. I mean, if we're going to be marketed to, and we are every time we turn on the computer or TV,
sure.
Let's do it like this.
Yeah. No doubt.
That is too funny.
Well,
well,
what
and
about Ray Perlman's character? How do we feel about those? I really like her.
Oh, Sid. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I think that we've had a bit too much Sid. Like, I like Sid, and it was a means to an end. Obviously, the Clone Force 99 needed money, and what once Omega with her Dejarik playing paid the debt off. I'm not sure. Now, this last episode was Omega being the heart of this family and saying, look, Sid helped us out a lot. We need to help her out. That's kind of the only reason that they stayed in this case, because I think that they were about ready to go. This looked like maybe this was their last favor they were going to do for her. At the very beginning of the episode, they had a little banter of the mission that they had just finished. They get on the planet and they find out Sid's in trouble. And so Omega being Omega, hey, this person helped us out. We need to help her out. So, that's why that
Which of the 3 final episodes is Sid going to betray them?
I think we're done. No, I think we're done. Yeah, I really think if they have another episode with Sid, I'm just like, what's the point? I mean, what's the point? We need to move on here. I mean, the next episode's called War Mantle. There's not going to be Sid. Sid will not be in the next episode. I mean, we're about to get intense with this next episode, I think. So,
yeah. I was surprised too, though, that they went back after the debt was paid off. I was a little confused about, because when it started off and it was like, oh, we're on a mission for Sid, and I was like, what?
Well, I think a lot of it is that Hunter's reluctance, because that's kind of been a theme throughout the season, his reluctance to choose a side. He kind of he could have easily have jumped in with Rex, and Rex even offered, hey, come with me. I mean, there's been and then we had that with Hera and Cham and Elena. I can't ever pronounce her name right. Eleni. Yeah. So they even offered, hey, come with us. And, and Rex Hunter just will not do it. I mean, he's very reluctant to get in with what we know as a viewer is the beginnings of the rebellion.
Hunter's missing his other half. Hunter is missing, oh God, I had his name just a second.
I mean, no, he is still very connected emotionally to Crosshair.
That's exactly
so I think you're right. Yeah.
I think you're right. Is the one that kept, in the bit that we've seen of them in the Clone Wars and now this, Crosshair is the one that constantly prompts Hunter. He's almost like the voice in Hunter's head, that's constantly arguing with him, or just enough. But yeah, it's like we've split one individual into 2 pieces, and Crosshair and Hunter.
Yeah. Well, and it's a very Star Wars theme. I mean, he thinks he can get to him. He thinks he can pull him back in. I mean, it's he still sees good in him. I mean, it's the Star Wars theme right there. I mean, so he's not willing to just give up on him. And so that's probably a lot of the reason why he just doesn't jump in with Rex or jump in with the Syndulla family. I mean, he is, in his mind, still not, his mission is not over with Crosshair.
He's working out a way. He's working out a way. Yeah. And Omega would be wide open to it too, which we've been they emphasized to her, you don't have to go back. You don't have to go back. So naturally, she's got to go back.
Right. I think that was like the very beginning of the season. Hunter's like, you'll never have to go back there again. That, of course, means that they're going back to Kamino at some point. I mean, that's just how these shows work, right?
Yeah, that's clear to me that they're going to go back. The Crosshair thing's not through. I feel as though I'm going to be slightly disappointed if they can redeem Crosshair.
Well, okay, so let's flesh that out, because what character in Star Wars hasn't been redeemed at this point? I mean, that's kind of a Star Wars thing, right? I mean, the Emperor, of course,
is completely unapologetic for all of his war crimes.
That is true. So is Chopper.
Yeah, Chopper. Very much.
My God! Yeah, you think about that. Chopper is just looking for an excuse to murder.
He is.
He did. He murdered another droid once.
Yeah, the good guys are trying not to hurt anybody in Rebels, and Chopper's grabbing them and throwing them to their deaths.
Yeah.
Doesn't he have like a super high kill rate compared to like everybody?
He does. He does. Yeah.
I think he's killed more humans than Luke Skywalker at this point.
I imagine I imagine K2SO probably has a pretty high kill rate from his previous life, but I mean, but Chopper, yeah, Chopper being a quote unquote good guy from the beginning has a lot of kills under his belt.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no hesitation.
Mm-hmm.
There's no moment of thought, and just he died.
Yeah.
I was so excited when Chopper showed up.
Me too.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like Hera's I was spoiled a little bit, so I knew that Hera was gonna be in it, but when I saw Chopper, I was just like, and he was perfect. He was the same. It was so good.
Yeah. I mean it's just I really next to R2, he's quickly rising myself. Has of Revenge of the Sith, and then we'll get back to
no, you're fine.
But Has of Revenge of the Sith and Last Jedi, boy, they both just nailed it with 3PO.
Yes.
3PO is the first to see Luke in Last Jedi. Master Luke, he looks up and acknowledges him first.
Mm-hmm.
And that little interaction, Luke winks at him and all, and then oh my God, the whole thing with erasing his memory, and I know we got him restored. I know everything's okay, but still. So 3PO has gone up a couple of notches, but Chopper's definitely up there. R2's still number one. Nothing's going to change that.
Yeah.
But
Chopper, so far, the only animated droid that I can think of that's also been live action. I know we've said that before at some point, because he was in Rogue One very briefly.
Yeah.
But and I want to see Gonky in live action now.
Yeah.
Is one of the Gonk droids not just hanging out in Galaxy's Edge?
Well, yeah, but Gonky specifically. I really like Gonky specifically.
Are they walking batteries?
They have personalities too, Stan.
Yeah.
I mean, Wrecker uses Gonky as a, exercise weight.
Exactly. Yeah, no, totally. I think we were kind of like hinting around at some of the themes, from a tweet so the Kiner brothers do the music of this show, and they did the music of the Clone Wars and Rebels and whatnot. One of the tweets that they sent out early on in the season is that they were working on these last few episodes, and was it normal for them to cry while they were working on these episodes?
Oh dear God, yeah.
I'm worried that somebody major is gonna die. And it just has me concerned that I think the one that would have the biggest impact on the audience would be Wrecker. I think if we're going to lose a clone troop, if we're going to lose one of the members of Clone Force, see how Marie's reacting? That's what I mean. That's the reaction that I think a lot of people would have, because I think that we're very connected as an audience to Wrecker. And they did that intentionally, is what my concern is, because they had him have a glitchy chip and had him going a little bit crazy, and they had to remove the chip and all of that. So the audience, exactly. So the audience has built this connection with Wrecker, and we really haven't built that too much with Tech. Obviously, it's
kind of hard to.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to.
Wonderful droid, though.
Yes,
he did. There's fans out there that were already previously connected to Echo, who has been around for a long time. That character has been around since like first season of the Clone Wars, I think. So there's certainly a lot of people that are connected to that character, and we've already seen him have to go through hell. So I'm hoping that we don't have to see that again. So that's why, to me, it's leading that it's either going to be Wrecker or Hunter. I think that would probably be the most impactful death if they choose to have one.
Who's it going to? Which one was going to hurt Omega more?
Well, I mean, I think that emotionally she's connected to both of them in different ways, but I think Wrecker would hurt her more. I think, yeah. I mean,
I feel like
yes,
I feel like Wrecker has kind of, and I mean Hunter has his moments, but I feel like Wrecker has come out as kind of the more father figure for her.
I think so.
They're always kind of, they're sharing the Mantel mix, and
if not father figure, like older brother, Hunter, I think Hunter has those traits because he's always telling her no. He's always like, no, we're not going to do this. No, we're not. And she has to always convince him that it's the right thing to do.
Right.
He's never willing to just agree right away to do something. But Wrecker being that big brother figure, I think is really a connection that she will feel a lot of hurt from and a lot of pain from if this happens. I just feel like something's gonna happen. Some character is gonna have to die.
Hunter has to be reconciled with Crosshair, and we're not getting that this season. So
you don't think they're gonna tie that bow up this season?
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
No, this is going to be an ongoing hunt, and the clones are going to rebel, and everybody's going to play their secret cards, and in the middle of all of it, Crosshair will come around probably at Hunter's death, but I don't think that's this season. It's going to be Wrecker. Wrecker, if they kill somebody,
that'll be the last shot we see of the season.
Yeah, Wrecker's got
damn. We're killing Marie here.
He is my favorite. I love him so much.
Yeah. I mean, no, I think for the show to have a lot of impact, I mean, I think that we probably have to see a character die. And for it to have for the season to have some resonance to it, and that would be a not good cliffhanger, but that would be the type of cliffhanger that you would go with. Have a major character die, let's say Wrecker, and then we feel that impact, we feel that blow, end of season, and we have to wait for however long. Now, I would think that the way animation works, they've already started work. If there is a season 2, it's maybe already in the can and just waiting to be released, or quite a few of the episodes.
Scripted.
You can't, you can't with animation wait too long.
No.
I mean, so if there's a season 2, they've got to have already really completed the first half of it by now. Now, I think 16 episodes felt a bit too much. I don't know. I mean, with Disney Plus, we're so used to shorter seasons of everything. And so to get a 16 episode animated series was interesting to me. I know.
See, for me, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
It spoiled me because when I was watching Loki after the fact, I was like, 6 episodes? What?
Right.
Like, no.
Yeah.
So
I think
definitely, I like it.
At least Disney has thought ahead in this on Disney Plus, that we're about to hit a time when they're rolling out one Star Wars one Star Wars saga ends. Here comes another one. Here comes another series. Same thing with Marvel. I mean, they almost had it. There's a big rift between What If and the next Marvel situation. They haven't announced exactly when Hawkeye and Miss Marvel hit, but they're going to hit before the end of this year.
Right.
So, but with Star Wars, they're setting it up on purpose. So, look, when this ends, you're going to get this next one. We're just not quite there yet. So, we'll go through a little bit of a dry period without Star Wars. Not much of one though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think much of one. I think you're right. They're setting things up, and I really think that if there is a season 2, they've already had to have started working on it, and are. I mean,
scripted, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that they will have ready to go in the slate next year at some point. I'm trying to remember. So this basically started. This was a summer series, basically. Yeah. So, I mean, I would think that the plan has to be season 2 in the summer of 2022. I mean, that seems logical if they treat it like they did Clone Wars and Rebels. They were working on seasons well in advance of when the audience gets to see them. So with animation, you just have to do that. You can't rest on your laurels if you're going to have multiple seasons of stuff.
No matter how many seasons this goes, though, we all know that this is a tragedy, more so than any of the others.
Yeah, I mean, we do. Yeah. We do. I mean, that there's not, there's not much good that can come from it. I mean, obviously, we know Rex
survives,
still around. We do know that. So I don't know.
I just thought of something.
Yeah.
Could in this show?
Yeah.
Could they reveal how Gregor and Wolf ended up being with Rex?
They could.
In Rebels.
Yeah, they totally could. I mean, they could certainly use this series to do something like that, and like in a season.
A handful of clones that walk away from this.
Right. I mean, we saw several of them willingly throw down their weapons and follow Hauser. So, I mean, there are troops out there that are not willing to just go along with what the Empire is doing. In a certain way. I mean, what you said earlier, Stan, was interesting to me, and I hadn't thought about that, because some troopers weren't around Jedi. Maybe the chip didn't really
fully activate and started degrading over time.
That's interesting thought. I didn't think. I mean, because all we've seen, of course, is in Revenge of the Sith. We saw any trooper that happened to be around a Jedi went after him. We saw a bit of that, obviously, in Clone Wars Season 7. We saw a bit of that at the beginning of Bad Batch, where if there was a trooper around a Jedi, when the switch flipped, they went after him.
Cody didn't even blink.
But there's a ton of them that had to have just been stationed on other planets, like Hauser, that had no Jedi around them. So that's interesting. That's an interesting thought. And one thing that we certainly don't know or quite understand yet is, do these chips have degradation? I mean, we don't.
I mean, by their nature.
We think, I mean, but you would think by their nature, yes. I mean, a computer chip, yes, would have to have that. But
and also, how old is the clone with the chip? How much resistance is this clone giving the chip? What level? What level of that? The new clones, like that we saw in the lunchroom. In one of the episodes that they got in the fight with, the new clones may as well be droids.
Sure.
But the older clones that, like Hauser, that have been out in the field and so on and so forth, that's they've developed independence and identity on their own. The newer ones have not. And so the chip is going to be more of a problem in the older clones that, in my theory, was not triggered or was not near a Jedi to be triggered fully. And so the chip did not completely switch on. He may have got a chill up his spine or something and thought, Order 66. And then went on about, filling out the paperwork for the day or whatever. And, and then over time, it just kind of...
Yeah, that's a good point.
Gets weaker.
I wonder how... So then what do you think about in the second Vader comic, when the Inquisitors were in front of the clone troopers and Farron Barr activated Order 66?
Similar situation. We don't know how old those clone troopers were. They came in on the end of the war. They certainly weren't any Vader's confidants.
Yeah.
or anything along those lines. And that was one of the greatest scenes ever.
It was so cool. I was like, he's gonna do it.
next to oh God, the librarian saying, "You idiots, that's Anakin Skywalker." And then the next scene is
oh,
just all of
Jocasta
the
Nu said
clones
that.
being thrown
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
in the comic book. But I would think that's pretty much it. You know, you're still fresh in the comic book you're talking about. You're still within a few months of everything happening. In this, you're you're still within a few months on this too.
Oh, this is very recent. Yeah.
I forgot about that because they were trying to decide whether or not to kill Caleb.
But again, I mean, it seems as if some of the troopers certainly had that situation occur where they went into that mindset, all good troops follow orders. Like the chip really kicked in strong, and they were just after whatever Jedi was near them. But Hauser again just seems to have that loyalty to the Syndulla family. And there has to be situations very much. We don't know where, like you mentioned them, we don't know where Wolf and McGregor were. I mean, you know, they could have been on another planet stationed where there wasn't Jedi. I mean, who knows?
Filoni has a plan for this. Filoni's thought there's no doubt. As of Rebels, Filoni had an idea of how this was going to work. Mm-hmm. And before Bad Batch ever hit the thing, Filoni knew where he was going with this.
Right.
So there's an answer there. The question is, what is the answer? How, and Filoni's good enough. He's up on, I mean, he's on top of the comics. He's on top of all of the canon.
Mm-hmm.
So, he
at least has somebody telling him what's going on in the comics.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's more than that. Filoni is a true believer.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a doubt in my mind that, there's not any downtime with Star Wars because he doesn't want there to be.
Right.
He strikes me as that. I'm sure he might occasionally.
Well, it's very much, I mean, not that he's taking this role officially, but it seems like that he is almost like the Kevin Feige of the Star Wars universe. Maybe Filoni and Favreau together are combined as sort of like the Kevin Feige who is the one that is making the decisions as far as storytelling is concerned.
I think Filoni is the gatekeeper to the story and the continuity and the character integrity. Favreau, I think Favreau's interested in the Star Wars projects he's doing.
That's true. That's a good thought.
I love Favreau. Favreau's great.
Yeah.
But I really do get the sense that whatever's in front of Favreau that's his personal project is what Favreau is consumed with. Yeah. And Filoni is more. But you see, there's a lot of gatekeepers to the characters working at Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
I mean, there really are. Certain things bother me if they get an author in there that gets away with something that they shouldn't have because that manuscript didn't get around to the right person. But definitely Filoni is a gatekeeper to the character integrity, story integrity. He's the boundary, so I don't doubt that.
So I saw someone speculate, and this really piqued my interest, and the inclusion of the Pikes leads me to believe that this isn't at least far out of the realm. I don't know if this season, but maybe like Darth Maul is going to be in this series at some point.
They've been YouTube has been Darth Mauling Bad Batch since it started.
Well,
everybody wants to see Darth. They've done a wonderful job of creating demand for Darth Maul.
Yeah, they really have. Well, I just think that
I've never seen anything like this. We all want Darth Maul, and I just don't know. Maybe not this season.
Maybe not this season. Well, no, I mean, to me, now that we've got the Pikes included in this series, there's your underworld element. There's one of your syndicates now. So perhaps other syndicates are obviously around during this time. It's a period of lawlessness in the galaxy. I mean, because think about it, we're in that era now where the Empire is still just getting started, trying to clamp down their control on all these planets. So the underworld's thriving.
Marie, based on the current comic books, what Kira is doing with Han Solo in Carbonite. Kira learns things and she copies things. What we know of her character so far, she adapts based on the situation of who she's around. Takes on personality traits. It's not a superpower, but there's people like this too. They're really good at watching the people that are successful in something and following the same steps. So given what Kira's doing with Han Solo and Carbonite, what if the Bad Batch walked into the bar and found Sid on the end of Maul's lightsaber, and Maul just picks up Omega and walks out with her for the season finale? Perhaps killing Wrecker, perhaps not. And so now he's got a hot commodity that he can auction off in the same way.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I mean, so let's flesh that out then. I mean, so Maul right now, we have seen him obviously at the end of the Clone Wars sort of escape the situation that he was in.
Mm-hmm.
And he was sort of messing around with Crimson Dawn a little bit at that time. Am I right on the timeline there?
Yeah,
because Empire,
yeah,
he's going to acquisition Crimson Dawn.
Yeah, he's getting to
Dryden
that point.
Voss and the
right,
the holograms.
Yeah. So at the very least, he had his own thing going, but now he's looking for power. Because that's always what Maul is doing in any way, shape, or form. He's looking for power in some way. So the underworld is probably an easy way for him to gain power and control one of these syndicates. He might not have his own syndicate, but control one of these already existing syndicates that we have out there. So him coming for Omega is interesting. I'd want to know an end game there, though. Like, what would his purpose be other than just having a card to play?
Makes him a player.
Puts him
on the stage. The Empire wants Omega. He may know something about Omega that none of the rest of us know, like where that little intuition and these wonderful guesses that she comes up with are coming from.
She's good at strategy.
More information.
She is very good at strategy.
Yeah.
Or, oh man, what if he's in with Boba Fett right now? Because we kind of don't know what Boba Fett's up to right now.
I think he's more likely connected to Cad Bane.
Somehow.
Yeah, I don't think that him and Cad Bane are best of friends. I think that if he's going to get information, he's got it from Cad Bane. And that's also a team up you haven't seen yet.
No.
So, look, it fits the MO. He held all of Mandalore hostage to get Obi-Wan.
And,
that's
And if it wasn't for Palpatine showing up and playing his little game with it, God, that was a great that was a great confrontation there. But yeah, I could see Omega's valuable, and it just depends on how much and who knows stuff about her. So if the Kaminoans are out there wanting Omega, the Empire may or may not be interested or even aware about Omega right now. I mean, Tarkin's aware.
Yeah.
This is she's a valuable commodity.
Well, yeah, I mean, didn't the Empire just put out, and I don't know that they've really established, because we're still not to the point where we have like the bounty puck and all of that. So we're not quite to the Mandalorian era where all of that seems to be part of the bounty hunting industry. But it seems like the Empire made a call and just whatever bounty hunter came. So her name is out there, right? I mean, Marie, am I right on that? You think they didn't just go straight to Cad Bane and say, hey, we want you? I think the Empire was like, here's the bounty, who can get her for me?
Yeah, and that could very well be what's going on right now. But if they walk Darth Maul into it, he's got to be the devastating situation. Because the last couple of times we've seen Darth Maul, he's had it handed to him.
Yes, he has.
Yeah. By Ben, and then by Obi-Wan, and then by Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, And we know that he has to seize complete power of Crimson Dawn at some point, because we see that obviously in Solo.
Yeah.
That's several years down the road, but there's a lot of years to work in here. I mean, for him. So I don't know how big of a part of Bad Batch he's going to be, but it seems like it would be another circumstance where they could use him in some way, based upon what time we're playing in right now.
Yeah.
We haven't quite got to Rebels yet, where he obviously dies. But I mean,
no, we've got almost 2 decades before Rebels, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we
probably
do.
about like maybe 15-ish.
15 years.
Leia was
yeah,
18.
right.
Leia and Luke are 18 in New Hope.
Right. Well, the last season. So I'm thinking the first season of Rebels would be about 15 years.
Okay,
but
15 years.
Yeah. Because Rebels was 5 years before A New Hope.
Yeah.
So we're about 15 years until season 1 of Rebels, right? Does that sound about right? Yeah.
Around there.
Yeah, 15. Let's say 15,
the timeline is crazy.
We'll go 15.
Yeah.
All right, we
Lord.
got 15 minutes left. Let's kind of speculate on something here that is and isn't the Bad Batch.
Okay.
They said they cast Throne and Ezra.
Well,
wait, what?
No, that's for the speculation. Let's save that for let's save that for the live one. Let's save that for the live one, because I think that.
But it's Throne.
I know.
Everybody thinks they want Darth Maul, but who they really want is Thrawn.
Thrawn is back with the Chiss Empire right now during Bad Batch. He hasn't really stepped too much.
There was a Chiss behind the bar at Sid's, wasn't there?
No,
that wasn't a Sid. No, okay.
No. That was the.
A Pantoran?
A Pantoran. I think that was a Pantoran.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't. No. There wasn't. There's no Chiss hanging around right now.
I was a little upset about that, and then I completely forgot it.
The Chiss ascendancy doesn't really like to come out of. They like to hang out where they are.
That's why I was concerned about it. I was like, this isn't. Did Zahn approve this? So
no, Zahn doesn't have to approve anything.
He has like. Nothing.
He's got his own stories to tell.
Yeah, he's in with Throne, and that's about it. But okay, so yay or nay, do y'all want to see Darth Maul in the Bad Batch? Right,
Marie,
now?
I'll let you.
I hadn't even thought about it. It didn't even cross my mind. But I don't know. I'll say this. I have been very, very pleased with the way they've done connections in Bad Batch. Now, Clone Wars is my favorite Star Wars animated show, but Bad Batch is made better because of Clone Wars and the connections that have been made to it with the Martez sisters and Cad Bane and
Echo,
the Cham Syndulla, like all these little connections and things make it so good. I've lost my train of thought. But so okay, Maul. So I am pleased with the way they've done the connection so far. So if they were to do it, I have full faith that it would be done well. I think is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I agree with you. If he shows up, I'm not worried. He just wasn't on a list of people I was checking off to see in the first season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that they've had the one episode, and they seem to do this in every series, where they plant the seed that the syndicates are around. The syndicates are hanging out. We need to be aware of what they're doing, and they're still very powerful. Right. I mean, the Pikes, the people have a lot of fear about the Pikes. They're very, very very cruel, apparently. In fact, I mean, we see them, cut that guy's horn off. I mean, so they're bad to the bone. I mean, in general, I think that Darth Maul's not a character you just leave on the table. There's too. We were talking about marketing earlier. I mean, there's too much with that character, and there's too many people that love seeing that character
and
for them to
Dress
just
has him for Halloween.
Yeah, and just to leave him on the table, especially in the era that we're in.
Right.
And we know this about Maul's character in general, that he's not a guy that just goes quietly in the night. No. He wants to be front and center. He wants to seize power any way that he possibly can. And so if he has become aware of Omega, which, I mean, if her name is out there in the bounty hunting realm, he's probably aware of her name, and that a lot of people, specifically the Empire, are looking for her. And he still has pretty big beef with Palpatine. I mean, and just
But he'd also want to steer clear of Palpatine.
He's smart. He wants, but he's not. Yeah, he's not a fan of Palpatine. So yeah, I mean, overall though, I have liked what this series has given us, and I expect these last 3 episodes to be just massively good. I mean, the animation in and of itself, and just all those type of elements have been really good. And these last 3 episodes are going to be awesome. I'm very much looking forward to them. Stan, what are your like kind of final thoughts about the show in general?
Like I said, it grabbed me first season and pulled me into it. Whereas both Clone Wars had that wonderful theatrical release with Baby Hutt,
the movie,
and
Rada.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking it. I've come to like it. But if you had told me then that Ahsoka is going to mean as much to fandom and then to me personally as she does now, I would right. But Bad Batch has drawn me in on the first season. Clone Wars had a little bit of a rough patch. Rebels had a little bit of a rough patch. But I think this is the straight up emotional aspect of Star Wars. Omega is not just going to be the heart of the Bad Batch. Omega could end up being the heart of the post-Clone Wars galaxy. The good in everything. When you're facing such an oppressive empire, when your opponent is Palpatine and Vader, this is a bright, shining little star, and that's why I say it's going to be a tragedy. Because but I also thought Rebels was going to be a tragedy. I only saw 1 or 2 of them making it out in my mind. And then when Hondo Anaka showed up, I was like, oh, we're all going to survive, aren't we?
Where's Hondo, by the way? How come we haven't had Hondo yet?
He's coming. I promise you. He won't be this season. He's coming.
He's coming.
Yeah, Filoni has not forgotten about Hondo.
Man, give me all the Hondo.
For real.
Just all of it.
Oh, yeah. So, so I really do not see the Bad Batch making it through past the end of this series. Omega, she's got a 50-50 shot, depending on where they could put her, where she could turn up later, because she would be older than Leia in by the time episode 9 rolls around.
Yeah, because I mean they've been very clear that she is aging normally, like Boba Fett does.
Yeah, she would be older than Luke and Leia, and
we'll see.
So we gotta but it's okay. It's okay with me that it's going to be. Yeah, there are great stories that are tragedy.
Yeah,
Rogue One.
Yeah.
No,
totally.
I'm good with it. Star Wars is big enough now that it needs to be all aspects of all things, and it's got plenty of avenues to do that. And this
High Republic is riddled with tragedy.
Yes. Yeah.
I've been catching up on that since our last little. Yes, they are.
Yeah. So,
goodness,
Marie. So good question. Where do you see it?
So wait, what? Rephrase the question.
Michael, you asked the question.
Oh, just your final thoughts on
Final thoughts. Okay.
Yeah.
So I it has so much heart and so much humor and edge of your seat action, like those three things every single episode. And I'm just like, I swear before we sat down to record, I went through my old reviews of the episodes. And I swear every review starts with, "This was an awesome episode. This episode was amazing. This one was epic." And I'm just like, they're all like that. There was one episode, the one where Fennec Shand was introduced, and it was like a chase. The whole episode is like a chase. Well, I wrote in the beginning of that review, well, upon my first viewing of this episode, I felt like it was been there, done that, another chase scene.
Yeah.
But after
man,
watching it a second time, I was like, wait a second, there's a lot of good in this.
Yeah.
So my takeaway is simply that there hasn't been a dud episode yet, and at least for me, and I'm just absolutely in love with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes it's taken me a couple times to watch certain episodes to really understand how much they very stealthily put little bits of character development into each of these episodes. And you really have to take the time to watch them a couple times to get that sometimes. And that's fine. That means it's the mark of a good show that you even want to take the time to do that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we're seeing Omega grow so much, and we're seeing Clone Force 99 grow around her and because of her. So I think it's been a very successful show. And I think after these last 3 episodes, I think anybody that had any doubts are going to be completely blown away. I just have this feeling that, I mean, episode 14 titled War Mantle, that is a big deal in Star Wars. And that's going to be very interesting. And I know we're close to the end here. So I'll go ahead and do my sign off stuff also, and then we can loop back around. But I release a movie podcast every week. Every Wednesday. I've been doing it for over 10 years. We're getting close to episode 500. It's called the Deucecast Movie Show, at the Deucecast on Twitter. So check that out if you're interested in just film in general, because we talk about all genres. And then I have a YouTube show that we release every Tuesday about whatever Marvel or Star Wars show is on at the time, and we sort of break down the episodes and take a little bit of time doing that. And I've enjoyed the TV realm. We just started that during the pandemic for lack of something better to do, and it's just been really fun. So we're going to keep doing it and talking about TV stuff, not just movies. So nice. Marie, go ahead. What's your plugs?
So I have a Star Wars review blog at thestarwarsreview.blogspot.com, and I review my most recent review was of the Star Wars book of Monsters, Ooze, and Slime. And it was a really fantastically fun book. So I review all the books, like even the ones that are, for the little bitties.
That's
so
awesome.
It's a lot of fun. And then you can find me on YouTube at Afra's Artifacts, where I talk about LGBTQ plus Star Wars.
Awesome. Stan,
I'm
your
Stan.
stuff.
And I do a podcast with Albert Marsh and Sandra Swindle called Kingdom Casts. We primarily focus on comic book, but we do talk about all things Star Wars, movies, anything that catches our interest. Although the last couple of podcasts have been Albert urging the workers to seize the means of production. So I've lost a little bit of control somewhere.
Children should not listen to your show.
Hey, well, no, probably. I beep a lot. If you like men that smells like fish, then boy, you're gonna love Sandra.
Oh, you're talking about
she really likes men.
Namor, right?
Namor, God. I mean, she has, in all seriousness, you would not believe what I've had to cut out about Namor.
Oh, I can imagine.
So,
I can imagine.
But yeah, I love Star Wars, love comics. Just give us a listen. But yeah, you don't want anybody under the age of 15 listening to it. It's not that we're crude.
No,
it's that cuss words get by. I try to beep. I do.
it's all good.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think all three of us. Thank you to the Hoover Library for giving us a chance to talk about Star Wars, which is something all three of us love a lot. And this is several years in a row for all of us doing this. For lack of a better term, it's sort of like a convention, but it's it's small. It's the library does it, and it's fun every year. I want to get back in person though. Hopefully next year we'll get to do that.
Yep. And our next panel coming up is the Grey's Anatomy panel.
No, the speculation panel. That's the one we're doing live on Saturday. We'll be doing that one live. So I will go ahead. I will go ahead and sign us off. Stan, thank you. Marie, thank you. It's been a lot of fun. I definitely look forward to Saturday.
Always.
Thank you again for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.